everyone. It's time to make your thesis statements. This is fun. I think this is fun. So, as you see on the right-hand side, I have the weeks to do open. I want you to actually go ahead and pause this video if you need to, but open up a blank Word document and you can finish this before the end of the discussion right now. So if you go ahead and click on Thesis and Topic Lab Week 3, this is the assignment sheet. You're going to hear a whiny dog in the background because that's what she does. That's my whiny dog. All right. So Lab 3 opens up and it gives you instructions on how to do Lab 3. But let's talk more about this and explain more about this. So basically, when you make a thesis statement, you're doing like a fake answer to a real question. And the answer is fake because it gives you a foundation, a place where you can start from. Basically, it like puts a stick in the ground and you get to hit it and see if the stick comes out of the ground. Maybe that's a bad analogy. But you need a starting point for an idea to know whether it's good or bad. If you just research the idea without a fake answer, just research the question, it's not going to be as good because you're not going to research it in the form of a debate. So making thesis statements actually frames your mind to get ready for the idea that when you write it, it's a debate. So let's watch this magic happen here. I want you right now to think of any topic in the whole world that interests you. In fact, it should be something that you are deeply interested in. Now, for those of you who are really career focused, I want you to think about the career that you're planning on going into. When you do undergraduate research papers that have a foundation in the career you're going into, you learn a bunch of jargon and a bunch of terminology and the people who are big hitters and experts in the field of study because you keep running across their name over and over. So it's going to give you a great foundation for your career, make you smarter in your career if you pick something within the field of study. So you don't have to, though. If you want to do thesis statements based on something that's just interesting, go ahead and do that. For me, for instance, I'm really interested in things like coffee because I like drink a ton of coffee, like a pot a day, maybe too much. I did a paper once. I wanted to know what it was doing to me, whether or not I was going to live, right? And I am going to live. Yay, coffee is actually good for you. So you could think of something more personal like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be focused on your career. For me, I also did a thesis statement once based on peer review among students, online peer review specifically, whether or not it's effective as face-to-face peer review. And my findings were pretty interesting. It's actually not, right? When you can see someone's face, it's really important for learning. Those micro movements in their facial structure solidify memory. Maybe too much information, but that's part of the reason why I try to record my face as you are watching these videos as much as possible. Not today, just got out of bed, not happening. Okay, so you have a topic that you're interested in. You wrote one down. You should actually write 3 down. Do a couple of them, not just one. So I had students in the past do things like athletics in college, photography, the social service system, video games. I've had students do a bunch of different topics. So really anything is open to you. The world is your oyster. This is a good time to get really curious about stuff. All right. So the next step after you have written those topics down, this is a little bit harder. You have to think of questions that you have about the topic. So what do you want to know? My topic was coffee, and I wanted to know whether or not I was going to die from drinking a pot a day, and I'm not, right? So that was a topic that I had a question about. Is coffee harmful? So you got to think of your own questions based on that topic. Now, you could pause the video here. It probably is going to take you about 5 minutes to think of questions because these don't just like pop up automatically. The fact that, you have an interest in something doesn't really make for good questions. So go ahead and pause it now if you need to pause it. All right, so I paused there for like a half a second to give you time to pause. Then, after you think of your questions, so here's some other examples that I brought up on this piece of paper. After you think of your questions, then the trick to making a thesis, and it really is just this simple, is to come up with a fake answer to the question, and you're done. Like, that's your thesis statement. However, that fake answer can sound pretty rudimentary at first, right? And then you have to work on making it sound more professional, like a news anchor. Okay, so another topic of mine is running. I'm a runner. I love running. I'm going to try grandma's this year. It's not going to go well. You know, it's going to be bad. So my question that I had is long distance running bad for your body? And then my fake answer, if you look towards the bottom of the page right here, my fake answer is long distance running is not bad for your body. I should put periods after these, not question marks. That was a icky that I did here because that's not a question, that's a statement. Okay, coffee is bad for young adults, period, not question mark. Students learn differently when using computers, period. So all of these are thesis statements at the bottom of this paper under the black line that says step 3, answer the question. All of these are potential thesis statements. Thesis statements have periods. They're fake answers to questions. They're not questions. This is really confusing for students. A lot of times they want to put the question that they have in their paper, and I see this all the way up to the end of the semester. Nope. You want to put the answer to the question in your introduction and conclusion, because us as readers, we want to know what the answer to the question is right away, and then you explain why that answer is true, and then remind us of the answer at the very end, at the conclusion. So that's really confusing. Now we call it a working thesis because this answer is going to change. As you research, you're going to say, oh my goodness, I'm off base. Coffee is bad for you, or it is good for you. I was wrong. Or you might say, I was wrong because I wasn't technical enough. Really, the answer is coffee in large quantities can cause neurological abnormalities. However, in moderate quantities, defined as 8 ounces or less a day, has beneficial effects through its alkaloid processing. That was a thesis statement, but that was a really professional thesis statement. I got there after I did a bunch of research on coffee because I didn't even know what alkaloids were. I didn't even know what too much coffee was. I didn't know what the right amount of coffee was. All that stuff came up as I researched. That's why it's a working thesis, because it will change and evolve and get more solid and more technical as you do your stuff too. So that's really fun. This process, 1, 2, 3, topic, question, answer, topic, question, answer, and you spit out a working thesis at the end of the process. That is probably the simplest definition of how to make one, and no one tells you guys this stuff. They expect you to magically figure it out on your own, and you can't do that. Okay, so the next video, we're going to go over the good and the bad. So even after you make your working thesis statement, now you've got to refine it further, not make it more professional right away. That'll happen as you research, but right away you have to check it to make sure you can go forward with it using some simple tests. That's the next video.